Joe Rogan, within this past week on his podcast, has voiced more concerns as to why our culture is shifting and going to this more acceptance of crazy ideas. And if you and I or the general public don't accept these crazy ideas, we are often viewed as being unhuman and being hateful and spitted on by these small groups of individuals. Now, it is of no surprise that we are seeing this affect the comedy genre, that being the movies and the comedy stand-up shows. Ultimately, we've seen a decline within the way they're allowed to express the jokes, because most of the time, if you go back in the day, jokes were targeted to all races, no matter the color. And people would go to these comedy shows to get a laugh. But nowadays, it's starting to seep in that more and more people are starting to become sensitive to the topic of people joking around, making fun of other people. It is not being accepted, and we're seeing obviously the decline and death of comedy slowly but surely happening. Seeing that Dave Chappelle is getting criticized, and even Joe Rogan, when he does his stand-ups, he's also getting criticized. And this is where Joe Rogan's new opinion and statement comes into play. This is what Rogan had to say. It keeps going further and further and further down the line, and if you get to the point where you capitulate, where you agree to all these demands, it'll eventually get straight white men are not allowed to talk, because it's your privilege to express yourself when other people of color have been silenced throughout history, said Rogan. And we are already seeing this with white men. I've noticed that white men are not voicing their opinions on topics or issues anymore because of being afraid of being called out or being called names, of, saying that they're being hateful towards people and such, even though it's just an opinion. I've been noticing that, and usually during the past history, we have seen white men tend to voice their opinions. Now it is starting to seep into only being this small group of individuals. As soon as a white man speaks and voices his opinion on a topic, he is attacked. We've seen this countless amount of times with Rogan, Dave Chappelle, Ricky Gervais, everyone, almost anyone you can think of who is white has been criticized voicing their opinion. And we're also seeing more white men just say, like, when you have someone say a crazy idea to them, you often have the white man agree to that opinion. And I'm talking more about in person to person, when you're actually talking to someone in real life. Because they don't want to go through the hassle of just continue going in an argument. That is what I've noticed. They'd rather just say, yeah, I agree with that, even though they actually don't. I've also done that, to be frank with you. And I probably shouldn't be, but I have. Joe Rogan discussed woke culture prevailing among students and universities on a recent episode of his podcast. He was once asked why he's concerned about woke culture among students and universities, since it does not affect him. But the 55-year-old commentator podcaster believes that it does. Rogan believes that these students will eventually be going to the workplace. And that is true. And if these workplaces don't abide by the laws and rules of the woke culture, and you have all these influx of students who are woke coming out of college looking for a job, and if the company doesn't abide by those woke culture standards, then you will have these college students not want to work for that company. And then who will fill that position? No one. That is if mostly everyone that goes to college comes out as woke. That is that. But I don't think that will happen. But as time progresses, if it does continually get worse and worse, as more and more people continue to join the woke culture, and if you have an opinion on your own that doesn't abide by the woke culture standards, you will be attacked. Joe Rogan also continues, there's a shift in the culture that seemed to be groupthink shift that was forcing people to accept these crazy ideas, said Rogan. He added, this is going to have some spillover. He also mentioned clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson's effort to warn people about this issue. Rogan also mentions that Peterson's clinical psychology license is about to get canceled. This is due to Jordan retweeting a post that criticized the Canadian government. And that's a whole nother controversial topic. But when it comes to the spillover, you see, if a person hears the same thing over and over and over again, that person is to likely start to believe in whatever they are hearing. And we are seeing this in films and series and shows and such, having these backed up agendas and messagings behind these shows and films that are trying to target the younger audience and change the way they think about these types of issues and to ultimately accept them. Even though many don't accept them now, what is to say that in 15, 20, 30 years, that isn't the case anymore? And if they continue keeping up with this, they will eventually gain control of the mind of these younger individuals and ultimately have their way with them in the way of trying to capitalize on them because of them shoving down these messagings and agendas down people's throats. Anyways, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.